Here's some local news for you from South Africa that you won't get in the rest of the world. And then I'm going to share with you some facts and history showing you just how confused it is because our ruling class here, our government, supports Hamas, Hezbollah, Iran, Russia, China, everything that it shouldn't be supporting right now, it's supporting in a very big way. But specifically, any anti-Israel sentiment is lauded and celebrated in this country. And it's not the whole country. There are a lot of us believers who stand with Israel and love Israel. So that being said, thousands gather in Cape Town for Nakba Day rally in solidarity with the Palestinians. Today we gather to commemorate the 77 years of Nakba. This is after the displacement of 700,000 Palestinians from their homes and villages in 1948. This was the beginning of Israel's genocide against the Palestinian people. Before I carry on, I just can't. Give me a second here. All right, so they're saying again this genocide thing against Israel. Israel has never publicly said, we want to destroy and kill all Palestinians. We want to drive them into the ocean. From the river to the sea, we will wipe this land of the cancer that is the Palestinians. They need to be destroyed. There might be one or two voices saying that, but that has never been Israel's position at all. On the contrary, all others can come there with their faiths and live there if they want to be a part of that country and productive towards its growth. Whereas all of the Arab nations pretty much in sync, once Israel wiped out, that is the definition of genocide. All the Jews destroyed, that is genocide. Pushed from the river into the sea, that is genocide. But they consistently label Israel as the genocidal one. The Jews who made it through World War II's attempted genocide. Then they say more than 50,000 of them, now currently, 80% women and children have been massacred with intent, and hundreds of thousands left homeless and are now driven to starvation by Israel's siege of Gaza. This is with the unconditional support of the United States and the Western imperial powers to realize a second Nakba. Great thing to be saying as your president Ramaphosa goes to America to try and suck up to Donald Duck. No, not very clever. But anyway, again, what a load of rubbish. 80% are women and children. Are there even men in Gaza at this stage? You've got to ask yourself as an intelligent human being, are there any men in Gaza? Because it would appear there's 100%. There's just women and children with hand grenades and weapons fighting the Jews. Because they're the only ones who ever die here. There's never any actual terrorists or anything that are men. That's what they would have you believe. And no food. But the food aid trucks are going in all the time. The Jews are checking them and testing them and sending them in, and Hamas steals everything and hoards it. And there are videos that have been released time and again showing you how they shoot and torture the civilians who are just trying to get food that has access into the strip. Anyway, lies have a field day because we're living in a time of deception. Now, those are the lies and what they believe and what they're saying about Israel consistently. So let's have a look at some of the facts from history. History will tell you, and there's a lot of it. I could make hours long videos just on this, but let's just do the basics. The Arab state, when they started this Nakba, they said, they're referring to when Israel was born. I'm celebrating the birth of Israel, 77 years. They're weeping, saying that that is when the genocide began against the Palestinians. My Bible prophesied it was going to happen, buddy. It happened. Deal with it. The Arab state was meant to have a territory of 11,592 square kilometers, or 42.8% of the mandate's territory. The Jewish state, a territory of 15,264 square kilometers, or 56.4%, and the remaining 0.6%, or 176 square kilometers, comprised Jerusalem, Bethlehem, and the adjoining area, which would become an international zone. So that was the plan of the layout. Sounds really fair and decent to me. The plan called for an economic union between the proposed states and for the protection of religious and minority rights. Decent plan, absolutely. The plan sought to address the conflicting objectives and claims of two competing movements, Palestinian nationalism and Jewish nationalism in the form of Zionism. Jewish organizations collaborated with UNSCOP during the deliberations, while Palestinian Arab leadership boycotted it from the very beginning. And again, I'm Christian, I read my Bible, I think the whole of Israel should be Israel, not cut up into small pieces and carved and given to different groups. I think they should have had 100%, but that's me and I'll stick to it. But even with a discussion to share it and discuss economic unity and everything and protection of minorities, they already right in the beginning showed their true colors and boycotted all of those discussions. Azam Pasha, the General Secretary of the Arab League, told Alec Kirkbride, "We will sweep them, the Jews, into the sea." Syrian President Shukri al-Kuwati told his people, "We will eradicate Zionism." This is at the birth of Israel. This was the prevailing attitudes waiting for them when they moved back into their land. Not a friendly welcome. King Farouk of Egypt told the American ambassador to Egypt that in the long run, the Arabs would soundly defeat the Jews and drive them out of Palestine. Whoopsie. It's been a long history of just the opposite, because none of those people factored in the important thing here. The most important thing, that God weighed in on this whole argument. 1948, the Arab-Israeli War, November 1947 to July 1949, started as 6 months of civil war between the Jewish and Arab militias when the mandate period in Palestine was ending, and it turned into a regular war after the establishment of Israel and the intervention of several Arab armies in its conclusion. After that whole war was fought, obviously the Jews were victorious. A set of agreements was signed between Israel, Egypt, Jordan, Lebanon, and Syria called the 1949 Armistice Agreements, which established the armistice lines between Israel and its neighbors, known as the Green Line. So they've just arrived. They don't have anything. The UK pulls out, everyone else pulls out, you're left to your own devices, and the Arabs move on them immediately. That little ragtag bunch of people, survivors, fight back. 14 May 1948, they established that nation, and they straight into war, and they're fighting back, and they win because of God. But God, that's how it always works. They were outnumbered at that stage 2-1, 2 of them for every one Jew that was in Israel trying to make a living. The Israeli Air Force, now considered the best in the Middle East, most of the world, but in its beginnings was a very precarious and humble thing. Its first wartime fighter missions, flown by an eclectic mix of foreign and Israeli pilots in Czechoslovakian-made Avia S-199s. Now, why is that important? Why am I mentioning it? Because this plane was an exact copy of the Messerschmitt Bf 109, or commonly known as the Me 109. And barely after the Holocaust, the new state of Israel was fighting for its survival during the first Arab-Israeli war in Nazi-designed fighter aircraft. How ironic is that? They were so sure and ready to survive. They got into one of the best fighter planes the Germans produced, the Me 109. It's one of my favorites over the FW-190 Focke-Wulf. But the Me 109 derivative made by Czechoslovakia, and they used this Nazi design to defend Israel and to win these wars. And you can still see them in the museums in Israel today, and it's a testament to how they will fight to survive and push on for the land that belonged to their forefathers, given to them by God, and to this day. And still the world calls for their eradication, their removal, their destruction, still calls them colonizers 77 years after that nation was born. But God. So they can celebrate Nakba Day. I will celebrate Israel's birth. And now look at the prophecies prophesying about a nation born in one day, a language revived from the dead, Hebrew, and the amazing thing God has done, how the nation's land itself celebrated and burst into bloom, and some of the best farms and forests are now flourishing in this country because the people are back, and more are coming back every day. It is a prophetic sign, and the devil can't handle it. Cannot. But God. Israel is a very big sign to the unbelieving world and to the church that God keeps his promises, and he is busy in the affairs of man. And he is coming soon for his bride. Shalom.